Hello, and welcome to my first episode, my first comic book call episode. Just a little back history, real quick. I'm a big Marvel fan. I like to collect older comics and key issues. X-Men is really what I get into, and I'm currently collecting everything back. Um, I'm in the 120s and teens for X-Men, going backwards, trying to collect everything down to giant size #1 in issue 94. I'm a big first appearance, and if I see a good deal on comic books, man, I just can't pass it up. I don't do a whole lot of DC. There's a few older Neil Adams stuff that I'm looking for, and if I come across I'll buy it if I get it for a good price. But you got to start off with what you can afford, and there's so much Marvel out there that I just haven't gotten into the DC. So if you're looking for DC stuff, you're probably not going to find it here. So let's get into it. So I went to this big comic book convention called Megacon. It's in Orlando, Florida, and it's a really big convention. Biggest probably on the East Coast, with the exception of maybe the Comic Con in New York City. They had to have 500 vendors, and probably 250 of them had comic books. I mean, there was just so many comic books. There was no way. I went to 2 days. There was no way I could get through it all. So I want to show you what I got from there and what I got. If I remember prices, I'll throw in prices. But I'm going to do the stuff I got just before Comic-Con, and then I'll go over the stuff I got in Comic-Con. So the first book here is Empire of the Dead #1. This is it isn't a book that I was looking for until I found out, for everything I read, AMC has bought the television rights to this storyline. Don't know if they're going to make a story or not, but it's definitely worth picking up. I picked it up on eBay for $20. I haven't read the story. A friend of mine read the story, said it was a pretty good storyline. I don't know if it is or isn't. The second book I got, Ghost Rider #1. Honestly, of all my Ghost Rider storylines, I really thought this was the best one. I'm not really too big into Ghost Rider. I have some of the older stuff. I don't have his first appearance Marvel Spotlight, but this is the first appearance of Danny Ketch's Ghost Rider, and I just love the color. I picked it up at a flea market for $1. It's in actually really good condition. Great vendor. It's the Dragon Indoor Flea Market in Newport Richey if you ever go there. The second book I picked up from him, which I just love the cover, classic Frank Miller, Daredevil #188. Not a whole lot special about this. Black Widow on the cover, classic Frank Miller. Love Frank Miller's artwork. I mean, his run on Daredevil is pretty much unparalleled. I mean, for Daredevil, that's the best run. I love Daredevil. Love the TV show. Second season definitely better than the first season. My son is a big Spider-Man fan, so he picked out this comic, and as you can see, got Stan Lee's autograph on it. And I'm gonna get it framed and everything after I get it graded. But what a great piece! He got to meet Stan Lee when he got it autographed. He was just in awe. That was at the Megacon, and I picked this up for $20. And then paid another $100 to have Stan Lee autographed. And it's in really good condition. Actually, this is actually my second copy. Daredevil #181, The Death of Elektra. Classic Bullseye Elektra fight scene with Daredevil there. Another classic Frank Miller cover. Again, I just can't get enough. This book I picked up for 50 cents. Savage She-Hulk #10. Is there maybe a little glare? There we go. There's really nothing special about the book other than it's just an old book I picked up for 50 cents. I picked it up for its cover price. I don't know if you can see that. Cover price, 50 cents. I only threw it in this because, spoiler alert here, if you're reading Civil War II and you haven't read it yet, they killed her. They killed her in it, and I read that comic book today, and I said, well, you know what? I'm going to throw this in my haul just as a little shout out to her. So, didn't get a chance to go through many dollar bins. In the $1 bin, I did get a chance to go through. It was 2 for $1. I picked up that and this. And again, nothing special. You probably find this in most dollar bins, but it's just a cool cover for $1. You know, for 50 cents is really what that cost me. I figured I couldn't pass it up. So, all right. So let's get into the haul. This was one of my favorite finds, and the reason why. I mean, you can find this book in a lot of places. Just to give you a little backstory, I got out of collecting comic books for a very long time. For about 15 years, I haven't collected books, and I got rid of all my stuff. When I was a newlywed, kids on the way, and I had a newborn, and you know, I just got rid of all my comic books. Needed the money at the time. I forget what for. But, so now I've gotten back into it over the last year, and I just missed when they did the Death of Wolverine storyline. Well, I was having a hard time finding this book, and then when I went to Megacon, they had it everywhere, but everybody wanted $10, and I'm like, man, this is just... I knew I was going to find it cheaper, and man, I was going through a guy's box. He said he had key issues in a particular box, and it was Sunday. It was the last day. It was getting toward the end of the day, and he said everything was 50% off. And he had a $5 price tag on this, and so I paid $2.50. There was another guy who had it for $10, and I offered him $7, and he wouldn't come down. He said no, and I know after I paid $2.50 for this book, I walked by his stand, and he still had it sitting there for $10. So I thought that was kind of funny. This is one of my favorite finds of the day. Marvel Premiere number 16. It's actually the second appearance of Iron Fist. With the TV show coming out, he's going to be a hot character. He's already got kind of a cult following in the Marvel Universe. I mean, his first appearance is $500. Now, this has some issues. I don't know if you can see it, but you can see, I don't know if you can see right there. You see the X, someone drew an X on it, and then the corners are really rough on this, you know, so it's not perfect, but I paid $5 for it. Man, I'm happy to pay that for that book. There's a few spine tacks along the way, but man, I was happy to pick that up for $5. The second appearance of Iron Fist all day long. This is a book I've been looking for a while. I have not been able to find it. This is the cameo appearance of Gambit's X-Men annual number 14. I was seeing this book for $25 to $35 everywhere in really good condition. And I was going through this one guy's bin, and all of a sudden I came up on one that said 25. It looked kind of rough. And the next one said 10, and it was real rough. And it had the same. But then he had 3 more, so he had 5 of these books, and this one was in really good condition. I offered the guy $10, and he took it. So for $10, man, you can't buy it for that on eBay. The prices, like I said, they're selling for $20 to $25 all day. If you know, at the stores, I've seen them as high as $35. I was just super happy to have it in my collection. Here's another one that I was really happy about. Uncanny X-Men number 125. This is actually the first Proteus or Mutant X. You know, this book in mint condition is going to run you $100 all day long. And you go to the comic book shops, they'll have this book. It's a great Cockrum cover. I love the Phoenix cover there. There's, you know, just a little kind of crease right there, nothing too bad. I think if you got this book pressed, it'd press right out. One little spine tack right there. It looks a little dirty there, but that could just be on the. Actually, I think that's just on the plastic. I mean, this book is just beautiful, and I paid. I'll show you. The guy gave it to me for 50% off his market price. I don't know if you can see that. $30, and he gave it to me for 15. You can't find old X-Men anymore cheap, and if you can get them for $15 or less, and they're in decent condition, you buy them. So, like I said, I'm collecting old X-Men, and I have everything from 122 up now. Well, I needed 125 down. So, while I was there, I just got some stuff to fill in. Number 124 and number 123. This is the Murder World. This is when they were fighting in Murder World. This one's not in great condition. It's X-Men number 122. It's the first Hellfire Club. It's a key issue. It's also the origin of Colossus. Great cover, Colossus pushing against the Vice. There's actually they make a statue of that. It's a really hard to find statue if you can find it. I don't have the statue. If I did, I'd have it sitting here. This book is in terrible condition. This is not a book normally I like to get my key issues in much better condition, but I paid $5 for this book. And if you can find old X-Men for $5, you don't have it in your collection, you buy it, because you can always upgrade later. And this is a reader's copy. And the Hellfire Club's one of the, it's the Hellfire Club. It's one of the biggest enemies of the X-Men. So to get that, I was stoked. Here's another book. And again, this book isn't in immaculate condition. It's actually in pretty rough condition. But I paid $10 for this book. It's the first Miracle Yoshida. And again, $10 for this book, I'll pay it all day long. It's again, old X-Men's getting tougher and tougher to find cheap. The guy wanted 20. I got it for 10. I like to talk people down on their prices. Just another good one to add to the collection. Nothing fantastic. I love the cover scene. Banshee's on it. Banshee wasn't part of the X-Men long. He's been part. He has been part. But all in all, great pieces here. Fighting Magneto. Nothing major about this. Just another one I needed. And then the X-Men book I was most stoked to get. Number 109. Very tough book. I have not seen this book for under $100 unless it was in horrible condition. This book is in great condition. I would give this an easy 7.0. Let me see real quick. Yeah, there's a little ding at the bottom. Not the best at grading, guys. I'd say 7.0. But the guy had it again. I found it in another guy on Saturday. He had everything marked 50% off. He said they were open Thursday and Friday. He said by Friday, or the first day, he made all the money he needed to make to pay for his booth. Everything else was just profit. He was wanting to get out of the business. He had 50% off and everything. I'm going through his bins and I find this for $80. 50% off. I paid $40. I jumped all over it. Great book to find. Glad to have it. So, on Sunday, I'm going through this guy's bin, and I find this, and this, in case you don't know, it's the Avengers number 257. It's the first appearance of Nebula. I mean, the book looks like it's in great condition. I was surprised it wasn't worth more money. I paid, I think, $8 for this book. I was happy to pay $8 for this book. With her being in the Guardians of the Galaxy movie and probably going to be prominent in Guardians of the Galaxy 2, I figured this book would have been worth more. But I'll take it all day long for that price. Beautiful cover too. In the same dealer, I found this Iron Man number 304. It's the first Hulkbuster armor. I paid 10 I paid $10, or actually no, I paid $15 for both of these. So from the same vendor. So I kind of look at it like I paid $7.50 a piece, but realistically, I think that was 8 and this was 7. This might have been a little more. I honestly can't remember exactly what I paid, but I was around there, $7, $8, 10 at the most. I don't think I paid 10. I think he had it marked 15. I think he had that marked 10 and that 15. So I think I might have paid 20 for both of them. So we'll say $10 a piece. But even still, I'm happy to have them. Wasn't something I went out looking for, but when I came across it, I said, hell, why not? I was happy to have it. So, one of the books I was happy about finding was this right here. There's a story behind this, Hawkeye versus Deadpool #1. A buddy of mine that I went to the event with, he bought the whole series, all 4 of them, for $20. And he said he had 2, 3, and 4, but he couldn't find #1 alone. So he just said hell with it. He bought the whole thing, the whole series by itself. So I found this by itself, so I bought it because I didn't have any of the series, and I'm a huge Deadpool fan, obviously. Deadpool guy here. And I was stoked to find this, and I didn't pay $10 for it. I think I paid $8. I think they only came down a couple. But then my buddy, a great friend he is, gave me 2, 3, and 4 when we got back. He just gave them to me. So that was pretty awesome. So I was pretty stoked for that. Deadpool stuff is always expensive and it's always hard to find. A long time ago, I bought a collection of all Deadpool stuff. And in the collection was Deadpool versus X-Force, #2, 3, and 4. And I've been looking for this book ever since. Deadpool versus X-Force #1. $15 is what I paid. They would not come down. But in the year since I started that I've been looking for this book, I've been to 4 comic book shows. I've been to 20 stores. I've been to multiple flea markets. This is the first and only time I saw it. I checked every vendor I went to see if I could find that book. And I only found it at one. She had it marked 15. She wouldn't come lower. Now there's a variant cover where it's Deadpool. It's actually an awesome variant cover. I found that twice, but I wasn't paying $100 for it. Just for the variant. I mean, it was an awesome variant, though. I would love to have it. But, so X-Force is like my favorite of all the, when I was growing up, I read the ending from about Cable on, in the New Mutants, and then X-Force on, up to somewhere in the mid-20s when I went away to the service and I stopped collecting at that point. But loved X-Force, loved Deadpool, so I really, really just happy to have this. So the next book I got there, which I was super happy to get. Super, super, super happy to get. Deadpool #1. His second volume. His first volume is considered the 4-part miniseries. I don't know if you can see that. 9.4 is what he has it graded at. I don't know if it's quite a 9.4. I mean, it's in pretty good shape. Well, you can see, it looks like there's a little ding right there in the corner. And other than that, though, this book's in great shape. And he didn't charge me the $70 he had written on the back. He charged me $60. I have not been able to find this book on eBay for less than $80. I haven't seen this in many stores. The one store I did see it in had it for 120. The movie came out in February, so it's just been everything Deadpool's just blown up. And I love the cover. And I'm really happy to own it. So let me take that off. My last three books here are kind of a set. I'll start with this one, Miss Marvel number 16. This is the first cameo appearance of Mystique. I just love the cover. Now, the only problem with this one is, let me show you. It's my book, right? I can open it up. As Mercenal would say. You can see right there, it's got like some kind of tape stuck to it. So, nothing I can do about that. But I got this in a 3-part set. I would say, with the exception of that, the other two books are both 7.0s or better. This is Miss Marvel 17. This is actually the second cameo appearance of Mystique and the first mention of Raven Darkholme. Or maybe this is the first Raven Darkholme and this is Mystique as somebody else. I'm not sure exactly. I haven't read the comics, but like I said, what a great key. I'm happy to have both of them. And then, of course, number 18, the first full appearance of Mystique. Again, all three books, I'd say, are at least a 7.0, with the exception of that tape mark. I think they're awesome. All weekend I'm looking for these books, and I'm only finding them for probably, I think this book alone was running around 120, and I found it maybe 5 times, and it was in horrible condition. I'm like a 5.0 or less, man. There was one that I mean, the color was faded. It had like a bunch of creases through it, and the edging was bad, and they wanted like $95 for it. And I'm like, what the heck? And that was only one I saw less than $120 for just that book. Then it was $40 and $50 for the other two. And I just didn't get it. I'm like, no, just for crap condition books, I'm not paying that. So, on the last day, I went into this one dealer, and they had these 3 books. They had them at great prices. They wanted $140 for all 3, and I offered them $120, and they took $130, and I couldn't get the money out fast enough. But again, when I bought these books, I honestly didn't know about that tape. I was so enamored by how beautiful they looked and the price that I did not realize that there was a bad tape mark on that. But all in all, not bad. I'm pretty happy to have them. Glad to throw them in the collection of my first appearances. So, well, that's it for the Megacon haul. I kept it pretty short, under 25 minutes. So, we'll see how this goes, and hopefully I'll be hitting the flea markets this weekend, and hopefully I'll see you soon. I want to do a haul about, I'd like to do one a month. I don't know if my budget would like me to do one a month, but as often as possible. I'll try to do one a month. So till then, man, happy hunting.